Just or did you go swimming? Why are you rubbing your eye?
I got something
Is it your fingers?
Recently, my brother was stabbed 4 times in an attempted murder near an elevator in Dallas, Texas. It's something that was pretty groundbreaking to me at the time, and I'm going to be trying my best to explain why. Essentially, the way I grew up, I've always been much younger than the rest of my siblings. I'm currently 14 years old, and my youngest sibling is 27. By the time I was 4, all my siblings had moved out of the house, so I had not really gotten very close to any of them. Because of that, I spent the majority of my life living as an only child, and this has definitely affected the way I am today. Still today, my 4 siblings don't really feel that close to me, and I've never really felt what a sibling relationship is supposed to be like. The youngest sibling of mine, his name is Matthew. To basically get some context, a couple of months ago, Matthew was living in southern Wisconsin with his boyfriend, and my family was and still is living in Texas. It's pretty far away, but something happened between him and family situations, and he decided to move down here with us. I was excited for it, because although I had not hung out with him much in my life, I was still excited to get to know him better. He moved into our house temporarily while he looked for work and got settled, and that brief period of a week or two was really fun. We just had a lot of fun going around the Dallas Metro together and exploring everything, and hanging out and catching up on our lost time. We played a lot of video games together and flew drones and drove RC cars. However, at the time, I really had not been adjusting well to the new addition in the family. I was having a good time with it most of the time, but occasionally I took it roughly because I was used to being an only child. Because of this, me and him had gotten into a lot of arguments and both said things we probably should not have. Usually the arguments were about some pretty pathetic things, but it still impacted our relationship as siblings and caused a bit of disruption to the otherwise harmonious family situation. Throughout this entire experience, I had been holding grudges with Matthew, and I was progressively getting more and more cold towards him. What had begun as something fun and lighthearted quickly turned into awkward experiences of avoiding him when I left my room to get something like a snack or use the restroom. I still remember thinking to myself, man, he's so annoying, or muttering things like, I wish I was just an only child, or I wish you didn't live here. I can imagine now in retrospect that those things definitely must have hurt Matthew, and because of my own selfish emotions, he must have had some emotional pain for my words and actions. Looking back on my actions, all the things I had said and done had happened for no reason. There was no reason why I should have been so cold to him, other than that he had moved into my house. I didn't even stop to consider that he must have been having some trouble adapting to the new environment, not even having a job or a place to stay other than our house just yet. Eventually time passed by, and he had saved enough money and left our house. It was 6 weeks only that he stayed, and he'd moved into his own apartment. Now this is getting to the pretty recent part of the story. We helped him move into the place, and then went on with our journey. For maybe a week or two, that was that. Nothing really happened. Then one day I went on Facebook and saw that he'd been stabbed 4 times. You may be wondering why this video is called A Change in Perspective, and the reason is because this totally changed my way of thinking. It's probably an understatement to say that I was shocked. I never really imagined something like this could happen to somebody I knew. It was a change in perspective in more than one way. I always saw news headlines, 5-year-old stabbed to death in Florida, or man found dead in river. But the way my brain worked, I always just associated it with someone on the news. When this kind of thing had happened to my brother, I finally realized that those people led lives, knew people, and people loved them. People like Matthew have died. The other way my perspective changed was in terms of relationship and family. I took time with Matthew for granted, and I was unnecessarily hard on him for no reason other than that I felt like it. I was imagining what it had been like, an alternate reality where Matthew really did pass away. The grief I would have felt would have just been immense. I would have felt extremely bad for the things I had said and the things I had done. I never imagined that I'd feel like this. I'm the type of person where the idea of death had never really affected me much. Imagining people around me dying never really scared me, but that was only until it almost did actually happen. From this experience, I don't think like that anymore. Death isn't just a joke, it's a real thing. From now on, I'm going to cherish my time with all the people I love, because one day, they will not be there for me anymore. For all the people watching this video, I highly recommend making up with friends or family members and spending more time with them and being more grateful for them. Today could be your last day with the people you love, so spend it wisely. Move on from the past. Stop holding your grudges. I don't really know what else to say other than that this event was a real shocker and a real close call. From now on, I'm going to be taking my family members for granted less. I'm going to be spending more time with them and appreciating the things they give me and appreciating the moments and memories we share. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that I think you should do the same thing in your life.